So in the last video in this series of taking control in a crisis, we talked about how to create that really compelling outcome. So when you think about it now, when you think about your compelling outcome, that picture should pop into your head really, really easily, which means that your unconscious mind is completely focused on what it considers your reality to be. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to create an amazing emotional state, and that's called anchoring. I expect you might have heard of it. And it comes from, if you remember, Pavlov. So when Pavlov rang a bell and showed the dog a steak, then the dog salivated. When Pavlov removed the steak but still rung the bell, then the dog still salivated, because that emotional response was really linked to a particular stimulus, and they got neurologically linked. And I'm going to show you how to do that today with yourself. So it's all about finding states that are going to be really useful for you. So say positivity, confidence, maybe love, and we're going to stack those states onto a part of your body. So I'm going to use a knuckle, because I can create a state on my knuckle, and then when I change the subject in my head and think about something different and then put my finger on that knuckle again, that emotional state comes up. And it's called stacking anchors in NLP. So I'm going to work through that with you with positivity, confidence and love, and I'm just going to tell you what you need to say to yourself and when you actually need to put your finger on your knuckle. Because when you think of, let's talk about positivity, I'm going to say to you, when you think of positivity, can you remember a time when you were totally positive? So really get into that state, really, really positive. Can you remember a time? So as you remember that time, go back to that time, float down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel those feelings of being really, really positive. So that's the script that I'm going to ask you to do. And as I read that out to you, you'll either think of a positive state straight away, or it might take you a little bit of time. But I just want you to notice, as soon as you notice that positive state, I want you to put your hand on your knuckle, and then I want you to keep it there and really increase that positive state. And as soon as it starts to drop off, I want you to take your finger off your knuckle. Okay, so let's just do an example of that. So can you remember a time when you were really, really positive, when you were totally positive? So as you remember that time, go back to that time, float down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel those feelings of being really, really positive. Really ramp those feelings up as positive as you can be. Really remember that time. And as I remember that time, the emotional state goes up and it's starting to drop off now, so I'm going to take my finger off. Okay, and then think of something else. So let's do confidence now. So can you remember a time when you were totally confident? Really get into that state, really, really confident. And as you remember that time, go back to that time, float down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel those feelings of being really, really confident. Really, really confident. So just build those feelings up. And as soon as they start to drop off, then just remove that off your knuckle. Okay. And then think of something else. The daffodils are starting to droop a little bit now. Anyway. So let's do love. So can you remember a time when you were totally loved, really, really loved? So a specific time. So as you remember that time, go back to that time, float down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel that feeling of being totally loved, really, really loved. And as that will build up now, and then it'll start to drop off, just take your finger off. So as a tractor going by, increasing all those feelings that you've got of positivity, confidence and love. And as you just now put your finger on your knuckle, I can feel all that positivity, all that confidence and all that love just coming up, which feels really, really good. And the usefulness of this is to create that emotional state. And that emotional state will have an effect on your physiology, on your behaviour and your results, but it'll also have an effect on how you are, what your reality is as well. So anytime that you're feeling a bit down, a bit confused, a bit sort of like uncertain, then just press your hand on that knuckle and all those feelings come up really, really well. So pick 3 or 4 feelings, anchor them on your knuckle, and then use them whenever you need to. So that's the last video in this series of taking control in the crisis, and I hope you've learned that you're using a process to get that behaviour, those results, that emotional state, and I've given you some techniques to increase the positivity of your reality, to increase your emotional state, for you to take control, for you to create certainty out of uncertainty, and to get rid of those acute fear, sadness, whatever it is. So I hope that's been really helpful for you. While this isn't really a sales pitch, if you do fancy learning more and you fancy learning all these techniques that we use in NLP to change your reality, to get those results that you really want, then just drop me a direct message, drop me an email, contact me on my contact page, and we can start that process whenever that might be. So yeah, thank you very much for listening, and see you soon.